Well, good morning. Good Monday morning, Internet. I hope everyone's having a good day and had a good weekend. I want to just reach out and talk about the food and what kinds of food can you eat when you're doing low carb, and especially when you're getting to the point where you're trying to move yourself into ketosis. Again, ketosis is the point where you reduce your glycogen stores and you're starting to burn your fat cells for ketosis to fuel your muscles and brain. So that's the most efficient part of ketosis, of low carbing, is to get into ketosis so that you can burn those ketones and they replace glucose in fueling your body and your brain. So that's the exciting part of it. So one personal thing in my life, I had a grandnephew, and so I was excited about that. My niece Amanda had a little boy, and I'm very, very happy for them. And it's a beautiful boy, very healthy, so that's amazing. Hopefully they are very, very happy, and hopefully get a chance to see them the next month or so. All right, let's talk about eating. So I'm going to go through a few things that I enjoy in my diet. It's different for everybody. Some people may disagree. The bottom line is experiment, find out what works for you. Sometimes some of the foods that are not real food, and I say real food, if they're not real food and they're a little bit processed, things like whipped cream from a can, those kind of things, some people use on ketosis or on low carb, other people don't. A lot of the times, I will add a lot of fat to increase the fat level of my diet. I try to keep the protein relatively moderate. The first thing in the morning, generally, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, and I'm not suggesting this, especially at first, when you're trying to get into ketosis or get into this low carb diet. I think maybe you should put off the intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting, just as a quick definition, is when you stretch out the period when you're not eating. So what I typically do is around 8 o'clock at night I stop eating, and the next day I really don't eat anything until about noon or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I do that 4 or 5 times a week, sometimes less, sometimes more. Again, I'm flexible in that area because it's helpful to my routine, but it's not a requirement. And intermittent fasting, I think, helps you also with your hunger. The longer you can go without eating, and especially when you're fat adapted, you have to be keto adapted really to make, in my opinion, to have the most benefit of intermittent fasting. Okay, aside from that, so I won't eat until the noon or 1, but in the morning I'll have a coffee with coconut oil in it. The coconut oil gives me that fat that I need. I won't have any sugar, but I will use some stevia to sweeten the coffee, and that is 1 or 2 of those in the morning. And then around noon or 1, I start eating my diet for the day. And that can basically include stuff like bacon and eggs. I like bacon, I like eggs. A lot of bacon has fat. Eggs are very nutritious, and they're relatively low carb, about 0.6 grams of carbs per egg. And so maybe I'll have a bacon and eggs. Sometimes if I've cooked some roast beef or ham the night before or previously, I might include that as the meat instead of bacon. For lunch, which will be later in the day, I might have some pork chops. If I've cooked some steak already, or if I have some steak, I might cook that. Hamburger meat. Definitely, I like to put cheese, hard cheese, on top of some of the things that I cook, such as hamburger. A nice no bun hamburger would be good. I love spices, so I use a lot of garlic, onion powder. I don't use onions per se because they do have some sugar in them. I use onion powder. I use a lot of red pepper flakes to spice up the food that I'm eating. So you want to make it interesting, the food that you're eating. I think that's a good way to stay interested in the diet so you don't get bored. Eggs, again, emphasizing the difference. Some hard cheese. In the night, again, I will what I do is I'll have some meat. Again, I'm trying to keep the protein down so I don't eat too much meat, but also on occasion, intermittently, I will eat some veggies. So some of those veggies that I will eat, and it's usually on a rotating basis every couple of days, every 2 or 3 days, I'll have some veggies with my meal. I'll have spinach or broccoli, some cauliflower. On the weekend, it was a birthday party, and we were talking about mashing cauliflower, so it's like mashed potatoes, and I'm going to give that a try as well. So all these things. One thing I do include during the day now is fat bombs. Fat bombs include cream cheese with garlic powder, onion powder, parsley, jalapeno. I crush up jalapeno within, and I roll it into a ball. And then around that ball, I roll that ball into bacon bits. So I basically cook some bacon. There's some bacon fat that goes in the ball, the cream cheese. That is what I call one of my versions of a fat bomb. So that allows me to add fat. It tastes amazing. And it also allows me to get fat into the diet, where sometimes you have to, if you're going to eat fat, you end up eating a lot of protein. And I'm trying to keep the protein at a moderate level. So those are some of the things that I do. Now sometimes I get a little peckish for some sweet. So I do use stevia to generally sweeten things. I have had diet pop in the past, but I try to avoid it as much as possible. I just finished off my last about a week ago. And I'm not buying any more for the foreseeable future. I try to avoid artificial sweeteners as much as possible. But what I do is sometimes I'll have diet Jello in the evenings if I'm peckish, if I feel like having something. I actually drink Jello liquid, and I know it's going to sound a little strange, but the gelatin is healing for the stomach. So I'll have a pack of Jello, and I'll mix it in. It's it is artificial sweetener, but it's one of those things that I do sometimes. Sometimes I'll put it in the fridge and make it solid like a gelatin, but sometimes I'll drink it liquid, and I enjoy that. If I have it solid, then I'll add a little whipped cream from a can sometimes to have that little sweet treat, which is fairly low. As long as you don't use too much of the whipped cream in a can, you're going to have a nice dessert as well. There's all kinds of recipes out there for a really good low carb. Try not to get overwhelmed. Keep it simple. A lot of people try to make low carb complicated. You can keep it simple. Try to repeat some of the same meals. I use bacon, pork chops, steak, hamburger, hard cheese. Hard-boiled eggs are really good to have available to you. You make 10 at a time, and then you get a couple every day or two. And that way you have a snack and those fat bombs that I was telling you about. All those things are going to put you in a state where you're in ketosis, where you're going to burn fat from your fat cells, and you're going to be a lot more efficient in the diet you're doing. So I hope that helps. I thank you for listening. I hope you please say like my video or add any comments to the video if you have any. I thank you for your time, and I wish you a good Monday. It is really cold. It's one of the coldest days of the year again here in the Niagara region. I think it's minus 20 degrees Celsius right now. We'll get a little better over the next couple of days, thankfully. Take care. Talk soon.